I would like now to turn to our two guest commentators, William Buckley and Gore Vidal, and to ask them what observations they've made about the security that we have seen all week at this convention and the events tonight on the streets beyond this convention hall. Who is first? Mr. Vidal first.
I think there's very little that we can say after those pictures that would be in any way adequate. It's like living under a Soviet regime here. The guards, the soldiers, the agents provocateur on the parts of the police. You've seen the roughing up. The background of it is that they came here for a rally on the 25th of August at Convention Soldier Field, a coalition for an open convention. They were denied the use of the field. It was a friendly, a nonviolent demonstration. As a rule, the press is on the side of the police, but this time the police have seriously injured some 21 newsmen, and the press has, of course, reacted. And on top of that, television is duly upset with Mayor Daley for other reasons. I'd just like to point out that picking up a newspaper at random on my way here, the Chicago Daily News, there's a columnist called Mike Royko, who says Thomas E. Foran, the U.S. attorney, says Chicago police have shown, quote, wonderful discipline in their handling of the Lincoln Park demonstrators. Foran is either stupid or a liar, or maybe he's been wandering around in the wrong park. Chicago's police, for his information, have been beating innocent people with, to coin a phrase, reckless abandon. And he goes on to say that the biggest threat to law and order in the last week has been the Chicago Police Department. On an inside page here, we have one of the grisliest pictures I've seen in some time. It shows a group of police standing and laughing as they have thrown into the water a young man on a bicycle. And the caption is, the witnesses said the police then just stood back and laughed. The youth reportedly had just been riding through the park. He had not even been part of the yippee gathering.
I wonder if we can let Mr. Buckley comment now for a short while.
The distinctions to be made, Mr. Smith, are these. Number one, do we have enough evidence to indict a large number of individual Chicago policemen? It would seem from what Mr. Burns showed us that we do. However, the effort here, not only on your program tonight, but during the past 2 or 3 days in Chicago, has been to institutionalize this complaint so as to march forward and say that, in effect, we have got a police state going here. We've got a sort of a fascist situation. One young man approached me last night and said, are you aware that Mayor Daley is a fascist? To which my reply was no. And if that is the case, why didn't John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy, whose favorite mayor he was, indict him as such and teach us that we should all despise him as a fascist? The point is that policemen violate their obligations just the way politicians do. If we could all work up an equal sweat, and if you all would be obliging enough to have your cameras handy, every time a politician commits demagogy or passes along a graft for bribes, or every time a businessman cheats on his taxes, or every time a labor union beats up people who refuse to join his unions, then maybe we could work up some kind of impartiality and resentment. As of this moment, I say, go after those cops who are guilty of unnecessary brutality. Develop your doctrine of security sufficiently so that when you don't have as many cops as you should have had, for instance, in Dallas in November of 1963, you don't go and criticize the FBI for not having been there, for not having taken sufficient security measures. But don't do what's happening here in Chicago tonight, which is to infer from individual and despicable acts of violence a case for implicit totalitarianism in the American system.